I want to make a quick video on how I put on 30 pounds of muscle as a skinny guy. So, growing up, I was always the skinny kid. I was always picked last for every game, anything that involved physical fitness. And that was not because I couldn't run or my cardio wasn't good or I was out of shape in that way. Like, I took martial arts and was involved in a lot of other sports like things. So that wasn't the problem. It was just I looked very small and unassuming, I guess you could say. So I was always picked last, and that sucked. And then I was always worried anytime somebody gave me a hug that they would think I was just like super small. And I was always in my head about that. So that is what made me go and put on 30 pounds of muscle because I was tired of being small. So here we go. So there are two kinds of skinny. Which are you? So this is in terms of body composition. So are you skinny and lean, low body fat, you've got veins showing, or are you skinny fat? So no muscle mass, you're just small, but you have an abundance of body fat. And I know that most people know what skinny fat is. I don't need to really describe it to you. So figure out which one of those you are. If you're skinny and lean and have not weightlifted before and you're a novice, so you're lean but you haven't exercised or anything like that, what you got to do is you go to caloriecalculator.net, and this is what I did as well. You input the variables that it asks, which is your height, your weight, your sex, and all that stuff. And then for your activity level, select the one that applies to you, and then add 20 to 40% of that number back to said number for you to have an appropriate surplus for muscle growth. So if you want to put on muscle, you need to eat more calories. If you're not eating enough, then you're not going to grow, like at all. It doesn't matter what you do. Okay, so if you're skinny fat, then you most likely are basically sedentary. You don't do anything physically challenging at all to even stimulate muscle at all. And you're making poor food choices, so there's that. But go to caloriecalculator.net and input the variables and then select the correct activity level that applies to you and add only 20% of that number to said number to get your surplus. Yeah. So, here we go. Case study example, this guy named Jared. Jared is 24 years old, he's 140 pounds, and he's 5'10", so he doesn't weigh a lot, and he's somewhat tall. After selecting little or no exercise, the calculator tells us he needs to eat 1,952 calories to maintain his current weight, so let's add 20% to 40% to that to get what he needs to eat for his surplus. And I already did all the math for this, so I don't have to do it right here. After adding 20%, we get 2,342 calories, which I think would be more doable and sustainable than 40%. So being in any kind of surplus is going to be important for putting on weight and to grow. But you don't need to go crazy when you start out, or just in general. So you don't need to be eating tubs of mayo, and like there's plenty of bulking challenges and stuff like that online. Don't do those. That's just stupid. The food is not what's going to increase the rate of gain. The food is going to fuel the gaining. But when you go and you work out and you lift weights, you are stimulating the muscles and giving them a reason to grow. And that process cannot be sped up. So throwing in a bunch of extra food at it is just silly. So just enough for a surplus is all you need. So for myself, I'm 27 years old. I weigh 160 pounds. I'm 6 feet tall. I work out 4 days a week, and I get in about 10,000 steps per day. So I select workout 4 to 5 days per week as my activity level, and it says I need to eat 2,547 calories to maintain my current weight. So I need to eat that much food to not lose any weight from where I'm at right now. So to add 20% to that, I need to eat 3,047 calories per day. which I've been doing, and I'm already up almost 2 pounds in 2 weeks, which is perfect. So, how to track your food. Let me move me. Here we go. Okay, so download Chronometer to track your food. Chronometer is awesome. It's free. There's some ads in it, but it's not like MyFitnessPal. It's not like anything else. It's just so much better. Their database is way more accurate than any other ones out there, so you actually know what you're eating. It's awesome. I love it. So use that. I don't know if they have it for Android because I am an iPhone user, so duh. That's all I care about. It's all Apple products for everything. Okay, so you can do this. It's not hard. If you're tired of being the skinny guy, like I was, and being made fun of, like I was, then trust me, this isn't hard at all. So learn how to use the app, barcode scanner, changing serving size, and looking up food. Get a food scale from Walmart or something. This is also not hard to do. Give yourself a week to just track whatever food you eat. Don't change anything at all, but just get an average of how many calories you eat per day. So if you're skinny, then there are days when you eat a lot of food. And you think to yourself, I just ate so much food. Why am I not putting on any weight? The problem is that you only eat a lot a couple days out of the week, maybe. But then the other days you're eating 1,000 calories or maybe a little over that. So at the end of the week, you are still in a deficit. You are technically still in a deficit, even with those really high, like, binge-worthy days of eating. So you can't do that. You have to be consistent with the surplus. So just track your food, though, for the whole week, and you'll be surprised with how much you're actually eating. So you'll most likely see that you're under eating, even if you think you eat a lot, and you are for sure not eating enough protein if you're skinny fat. That is the truth. You need to be eating a good amount of protein for you to have any muscle at all, because your muscle needs protein. And your body needs protein, and if you're not ingesting the protein, then your body's going to take the protein from your muscles, which is going to make you tiny. So don't do that. Okay, so this is going to be a lot, so just pause right here if you have to, so that you can read this or take a picture of it, or I can send it to you if you ask for it or something like that. But the main thing to worry about to gain weight is calories first. So get your calories in so you can stay in a surplus so you can keep growing and making progress. Aim to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This will keep your protein synthesis high, muscle building, and make sure your body composition is good while you're gaining. So you're not like just putting on a bunch of fat, which is what we don't want. We want to look like we lift. So if you can split these protein feedings to 4 times per day, then that is awesome. And the reason why you want to do that is because muscle building and muscle breakdown is a binary thing. There's no in between where you're just maintaining muscle. You're not. You're either building muscle or you're breaking down muscle. So it's binary. There's no way around it. But to keep your muscle building high, if you eat about 4 times per day, 4 protein boluses is what they're called, so just big protein feedings, then you're good and you're probably just going to be gaining all the time. So carbs fuel your weight training, so you should have 3 to 8 grams per kilogram per day to build muscle. So the reason I don't have this in pounds is because I haven't been able to convert it. This is just the fact. If you go to Alan Argonne, I think that's his name, his book, Flexible Dieting, these are where you can get the most up-to-date nutrition science, and that is where I got this. So you should have 3 to 8 grams per kilogram per day to build muscle. So to get kilograms, divide your body weight by 2.2, and then now you've got Yeah, you've gone from pounds to kilograms if you divide the pounds by 2.2. Then multiply that number by the carbs, 3 to 8 grams, whatever you want to do. I personally do 6 grams. Then the rest of the calories can come from fats, but whichever suits you best and is more sustainable. Protein does not turn into fat, and carbs are less likely to be stored as such, especially if you have muscle, because the carbs get turned into glucose, glycogen, and then that goes into your muscles. And it just hangs out there. And if you have carbs in your system while you're weight training, then that allows you to push harder so that your muscle fibers can experience more mechanical tension so that you can actually get a better hypertrophy stimulus so that you can get bigger muscles all around. So yeah, fat is already fat, so it's easy for your body to store it that way. So keep the fat on the lower end to keep body composition nice and tight-ish. You're probably going to put on some body fat, but it's not going to be massive. So, did that not make sense? What does this look like in practice? I'll show you. So my personal calorie goal is 3,047 calories per day. I weigh 160 pounds, so I need at least 160 grams of protein per day. Protein equals 4 calories per gram. So multiply 160 by 4, so I'll get 640 calories there. For my carbs, I take my body weight of 160 pounds divided by 2.2 to get the kilograms, which is 72.72, and then I multiply that by 6 because that is my preferred ratio of carbs, which equals 436 grams of carbs per day. Carbs equal 4 calories per gram. So multiply 436 times 4, and I get 1,744 calories there. So when I add the carbs and the protein up, I get 2,384 calories. Now I need 663 calories, my remaining calories, to come from fat. Fat equals 9 calories per gram. So 663 divided by 9 equals, I think it was 73 something, but just round it up because you don't want to deal with all those decimal points. There's no point. So my bulking macros are 160 grams of protein, 436 grams of carbs, and 74 grams of fat, which equals 3,050 calories. So if you do that same thing for yourself, you can add those macro goals to Cronometer and start getting some gains. To do this for yourself, just get rid of my body weight, and then you'll be fine. Change it to your own body weight. And obviously you need to start with the caloriecalculator.net and add in the 20%. I would honestly just do the 20% surplus. So add the 20% to that, and then you can get started on programming your macros. If you need help, let me know. Okay? Troubleshooting. Consistency is the name of the game here. You need to make this all very sustainable. So, how to eat. How to eat. Start with the carbs first, because there will be more of those in comparison to your other macros. So, I eat a lot of chicken and rice, not because that's magical for building muscle. Chicken's just my protein source. White rice is my carb source. But if I have 7 or 8 ounces of white rice, it normally takes me a long time to get through it if it's all mixed in with the chicken. This is just me personally. Protein is extremely satiating, meaning you feel full very quickly when you eat protein. So this is also why if you're trying to lose weight or lose fat specifically, you want to eat a lot of protein, because that's going to make you feel full so that your cravings aren't going through the roof. So I would start with the rice first because that's the easiest thing to get down. Then I can move on to the chicken. and just work my way through that. If I need a sauce or something like that to help me get through it, then fine, no problem. And then I could go drink a bunch of orange juice or apple juice or something like that. Just go with whatever's the easiest to get down and doesn't make you feel the fullest, the fastest, and then you'll be good. But that's a lot of trial and error, but you'll get it. Only eat 20% of your calories from processed foods. The other 80% should come from whole food, healthy sources. So just because you're bulking doesn't give you an excuse to go and eat just crap all the time, because your health will take a hit if you're just eating junk all the time. So drink your calories if needed, just like I said before. Milk, juices, meal replacement shakes, whey protein, oats, almond flour, banana, peanut butter, whatever, blended, yummy. Put all that in a blender and drink it. It'll be good for you. Look at what you normally eat on a daily basis and see what currently works and keep it and add or subtract to hit your goals. Okay? So sustainability, food must be palatable. So your food has to taste good. If you're not making good food, then you're not going to be able to eat large amounts of it in order to gain muscle. Like, you just won't. So figure out how to make your food taste good. Learn how to do some recipes, find things that you like. Because if you're trying to put on muscle and not be skinny anymore, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to take time. So what food sources do you like? What do you actually look forward to eating? What's my personal experience and how I got locked in? Tips and tricks. So I like the cinnamon maple cinnamon oatmeal. I've always liked that. So I'll eat that for breakfast. But my appetite in the morning is very low. So what that means is I'm going to have 2 packs of oatmeal, because that's very easy for me to handle with my low appetite. And then I'm going to have 2 scoops of whey protein, because that's really easy to just chug it and not worry about it. And then I'll have a banana, and that is my breakfast. Cool. I also like eating ground beef and rice. It's good. It's easy to eat. I like it. Throw on some hot sauce, some sriracha or whatever, and you've got a 5-star meal in my book. Same thing with chicken breasts and rice. I freaking love it. So yeah, orange juice. I love that stuff. Apples, great. Oranges, awesome. Salads, I like that. So yeah, find foods that you like and try not to change things too much if you can help it. Hopefully your diet's not just absolute junk and crap all the time, because if it is, then this might be a little bit more of an adjustment for you. But you can do it if you're tired of being the way that you are. So, just the tip. Here's some more tips. Limit fluid intake to between meals. So when you start eating, don't chug a bunch of whatever. Don't plop your soda here and start drinking that before you get to your food. Like, save the volume in your stomach for the actual food. And take small sips while eating to just keep your saliva going. Prep your food in advance, because it's going to be really annoying to have to cook for every meal all the time. So if you're going to cook, just cook in bulk and put it away. It'll help you so much, and you'll be glad you did. If you're tired of being small and weak and skinny and worried about your hip bones and shoulder blades poking out and looking like a coat hanger, which I was so sick of, then do it, and it'll be worth it. Get hot sauce, barbecue sauce, teriyaki sauce, or whatever to help you. And remember, added sugar, as opposed to intrinsic sugars in fruit and milk, should be limited to a max of 10% of caloric intake, so you don't get the diabetes and have other issues with your blood sugar. So like I said before, just because you're bulking doesn't give you an excuse to be stupid with what you eat, okay? Okay. Tracking. So this is to make sure that you're actually like making progress. So weigh yourself either daily or 3 times per week and get the average weight for the week to see if your weight is trending up or down. If your weight is not going up, then you can bump up your calories by 200 and track the following week's moving average to see if that put you in a surplus. So just weigh yourself and track the averages, and if the moving average is trending upwards, then you're good. If it's trending downwards and that's the average, then either you're not being consistent enough and your tracking is not good enough, or you actually do need to eat more food, and then you can bump it up. That's been an issue for me in the past, was just not being consistent enough. I don't need to eat 4,000 calories every day. Chris Bumstead is eating 4,500 calories, and he's in his off season, and he weighs, I don't even know, a lot. But I weigh 160 pounds. I don't need a ton. I just need to be consistent with it, and that's probably the case with you. So unless you're at a 95% accuracy with your tracking and hitting your calories every day, like 95% of the time, only then is when I would add food. If you don't use Chronometer or something like that and actually track your food, you'll probably not gain weight very well. You're tiny because you naturally have a low appetite and you don't like eating. I'm talking to myself here. So for training, best practices, choose stable multi-joint movements, meaning they work multiple muscle groups, and do 1 to 2 sets to failure, or 1 to 2 reps in reserve with heavy loads, 5 to 8 rep max loads, 3 days per week for a year. Yes, that long. So find, like, for instance, a flat chest press machine that you like, and that is going to work your chest, it's going to work your triceps, and it's going to work your shoulders. So you're a beginner. You don't have a lot of muscle at all. You don't need a bunch of different exercises and a ton of different sets either, because then you're just wasting your time. Because since you're a novice, you actually can't tap into the high threshold motor units that are more susceptible to growth. Like, you need to go through this period of time where you're just trying to get progressively better, stronger at those simple moves. You don't need to stand in the cable machine and just do single arm whatever. Okay? So progressively overload those and you will get big. Like leg extensions, do those. Those are great. I don't care what anybody says. You work the whole quadricep, all the different regions when you do the leg extension, including the rectus femoris, which is the top part by your hip flexor. And yeah, just do that, man. You'll probably grow from 3 sets to failure per week per muscle group. So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do the chest press for the shoulders, the triceps, and the chest. And then for your back for your back movement, you could do a chest supported row where your arms are closer to your sides here, and you pull all the way back and progressively overload that. This is working your lats, this is working your rear delts, your traps, your rhomboids, and all that stuff. So get stronger at that and fail at it on the days that you do it, or get close to failure and use heavy weights. And it will literally be impossible to not grow. Protein synthesis lasts for 48 hours. When you're going to failure, I believe you need 2 sets to do that. So if you do 2 sets of the whatever, then you're good. I mean, you could do just 1 set and now you have protein synthesis going for a whole 24 hours. So that means that the next day when you go in, your stimulus has just dropped off and you're probably recovered and ready to go all over again. But if you want help with this, follow me on Instagram and you can message me, and I'm happy to help. I didn't want to go too in depth with the training thing on this one, but I hope that the food stuff can at least get you started, because that's like a really big thing with trying to put on weight. So best of luck. See you next time.